what's up, junior high? So I'm curious, you got anybody in your life that gives you lots of ideas? I'm talking like the really fun, slightly questionable ideas. You know, the ones that tend to get you in trouble? Well, Kyle was the bad idea guy in my life when I was a teenager. He just had this knack for seeing the slightly stupid angle of every situation, and then he'd just go for it. Now, hopefully, you don't have too many Kyles in your life. See, Kyle was the guy for me who first had the idea that we play spin the bottle at his birthday parties. Ew, gross, right? Kyle was the guy who would convince me it would be fun to steal girls' backpacks at recess and confiscate all their secret notes that they passed back and forth. And I realize when I say this makes me feel old. And I kind of am. We had to write our text messages out on notebook paper in the good old days. And then we had to physically pass them back and forth. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but it used to be so much fun. Anyway, Kyle was also the guy in my life who would show up to my house, I'm being honest here, driving his dad's truck at age 14.
Greg, pass this idiot.
And he'd ask me to go for a ride. Craziness. And just in case you're curious how rebellious your pastor was, yes, I went with him. I did all those silly things that Kyle wanted me to do. Sheesh. I wish that all of Kyle's bad ideas would have somehow ended up working out for the good, but unfortunately they didn't. In fact, some of my biggest regrets growing up stem from listening to Kyle's bad ideas. And we've been talking about our relationships for a few weeks now, and today I want to talk about the relationship that many of us, we just tend to blow past, and maybe we even ghost it altogether. And that's your relationship with mentors. What's a mentor? Well, Webster defines a mentor this way: a trusted counselor or guide. Someone who's been there, done that, and offers some really godly advice when you need it. And for one reason or another, the mentor relationship just sort of gets lost among others. I mean, is having a mentor really that important? Isn't mom or dad enough? Can't we just get good ideas from our friends and just call it good? Well, I want to tell you about a dude in the Bible who did just that. He listened to some bad idea buddies, and it ended up backfiring. The dude's name was Rehoboam, and his claim to fame was his dad, Solomon, filthy rich guy, like Bill Gates rich. And to top it off, he was king of Israel, which at the time was the most powerful nation on the planet. And Rehoboam was heir to the throne. So when dad died, not only was Rehoboam going to inherit crazy piles of cash, he was going to inherit a ton of power. And this is the story of his first ever idea as king of Israel. So on the day that Rehoboam was crowned king, some really powerful people came together, showed up at his big party, and they offered him a suggestion. They were like, hey, so we've been thinking, your father was a really tough boss. And we've been talking to the rest of the kingdom, and everybody's exhausted. It would be really great if, as your first order as king, would you just cut the people some slack? Maybe give them a little bit of rest, lighten their load. And King Rehoboam took this into consideration for 3 whole days. And I want to read to you from the Bible, 1 Kings chapter 12. Here's one of the most brilliant things that he did during those 3 days. Check it out. Then King Rehoboam consulted the elders who had served his father Solomon during his lifetime. How would you advise me to answer these people? He asked. And did you see what he did there? He's going to his mentors, to some older, wiser, and godly people for advice. Good stuff, King. But not so fast. Just when you think Rehoboam is about to hit like a home run with his first ruling, the tables turn. Check it out. But Rehoboam rejected the advice the elders gave him and consulted the young men who had grown up with him and were serving him. He asked them, "What is your advice?" Shoot! He ghosts his mentors. And who does he listen to instead? His homies he'd grown up with. And what's their advice? Well, check it out. The young men who had grown up with him replied, "These people have said to you, 'Your father put a heavy yoke on us, but make our yoke lighter.' Now tell them, 'My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. My father laid on you a heavy yoke. I will make it even heavier. My father scourged you with whips, but I will scourge you with scorpions.'" Okay, question. Have you ever found a scorpion in your house before? Terrifying, right? Like, you want to see a grown man jump? And then probably scream like a little girl? That's me when I see a scorpion. But Rehoboam's buddies, they're on a whole nother level. They want to whip people with scorpions. These guys are crazy. They are bad idea guys. And their idea for the king goes completely against the advice of the mentors. Let me ask you a question. Just think about this for a sec. When your mentor says one thing and your friends are saying something else, who do you tend to want to listen to? Here's what I know, students. Sometimes friends have some really good ideas, but more often than not, when it comes to that trusted guidance that we all need, it doesn't come from friends. And that's why the voice of mentors in our lives should be louder than the voice of our friends. And everyone hear me on this, because this really matters. Your friends may help you feel good, but mentors will help you succeed. And isn't that something that you crave? To find success at what you do? Maybe that's at school or in your sport, in your family, with your friends, dating relationships, and especially as you follow Jesus. I know I crave this. So the question is, are you willing to listen to a mentor in your life? Well, unfortunately for Rehoboam, because he listened to his friends and ignored the mentors, well, his first ruling ended up causing a civil war. In fact, the people of Israel rioted against him and almost killed him. He had to live on the run for most of his life, and the country was torn apart, never to recover. It makes me wonder if we realize just how much is at stake with some of the choices that we make. Who you listen to in life is a really big deal. And that's why here at CCV, you have a coach. It's not even an option. It's automatic. You get a mentor here. Even a couple mentors who've been there, who've done that. And yeah, I know some of them are really old like me, even got like gray hair and stuff, but cut them some slack. Because guess what? They love Jesus and they care about you. They care, in fact, so much that they carve out time in their lives all throughout the month and all throughout the entire year to offer you guidance. Question: are you listening? And perhaps even more important than that, have you told your coaches what's really going on? Have you asked for maybe some specific advice on some things that you're dealing with? If you were having a hard time, would they even know? Listen, if we're gonna get better at this relationship with our mentors, then it starts right here with your coaches. My challenge for you today is to ask your coaches a question that matters to you. What's something going on in your life that you could use some advice on? And I want you to ask that question today. And maybe some of you have some pretty deep questions. And maybe you could just pull your coaches aside after group and you could ask them. I hope you'll do that. Remember this, students. Mentors want to help you succeed. Let's let the words of our mentors be loud in our lives.